What's up, guys? Happy Monday. It's March 20th, 2023. Different setup. We're not completely done setting up, but I had to start getting back on the air. I still got to set up green screen, and I got to figure out my monitor situation. For some reason, one of my monitors is showing like 1280, and the other one is not, and it's annoying. It's like all big, so a lot of stuff to fix, but we had to get back in the fire. Hopefully you guys are doing all right. How was your week? Basically did what, just Monday last week, I think, and then had to do a move. I told some of you guys about that. So you guys know when you move, it's hectic. You move where your setup, you move blah blah blah, the internet transfer, blah. It's a whole thing. And I was like, I gotta get it done before baseball, and we did. But it cost me a couple days of grinding in the NBA streets. But we're back at it today. We're trying to get caught up on a little bit, but we'll also just try and sniff out the best plays for tonight for player props for DFS. So as always, if you guys have already done some leg work, got a head start, be sure to share what you got with the class. I missed any big wins? Huh? You guys smack at all this week or last week? What up, Adam? What up, Moose? What up, Doug? I don't like how big the text is over here. Fudge. Doug, Kiefer, Kevin here. What up, Ducking? Edward. Can't get away from Miles Turner. Yeah, that game should be fun. Alright, let me make sure the audio is level 2. Also feel like the what's the word? When I talk, I feel like I can hear myself bounce off the walls. So I'm gonna have to do some work. You know, our last setup took 2.5 years to get it perfect. But we out here. What's up, Absolute? Moving does suck, but this one was probably the least stressful move of them all. I've moved a lot. I didn't really take a whole bunch, you know, just the essentials. Yeah, the second screen is, I gotta fix that. So I gotta make like a list of stuff to fix, and that's number 1. But if you guys hear audio issues or anything like that, let me know, and I'll keep adding to the list and make sure that I can keep tweaking as necessary to get where we need to go. Also, the lighting. The lights I usually have for stream, I put them behind, but in this scenario or in this situation, I didn't. But maybe I can still get it to happen. It's a lot. It's a lot on the to-do list. But number 1 on the to-do list right now is to do a little research. So let's get cracked open for the slate today. Let's go ahead and open up the rundfs.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. Let's see where we start the day at on subs. Oh, different YouTube channel. Which one is that? This one, yep. 85.44. So maybe we'll get to 85.50 before day's end. We need some underdog news. So Twitter. Underdog NBA. There we go. Let's pull that up. I fell out of my element. You guys been watching World Baseball Classic? Trey Turner. When I saw Turner, you said Miles Turner, I initially thought Trey Turner. Kyrie questionable, Anthony Edwards questionable, Rudy Gobert questionable, Jaren Jackson Jr. questionable, Jalen Green questionable, Alperen Sengun, Tim Hardaway Jr., Kevin Huerter, Alex Caruso, and I Mathurin, questionable. So a lot of cues here, a lot of stuff that can move and sway things. And then looking at the standings, Eastern Conference basically focused on that 10 seed and below, between 9 and 10, whatever. A little bit of a gap beginning to set between the Raptors and everybody else. So it's down to the wire for these teams, and pretty much must win or go home scenarios. And then the Western Conference, a little bit more loose here, where between the 6 seed and the 12 seed, just 2 wins in the win column make all the difference. So the Western Conference is going to be hyper focused on winning. We saw the Thunder pull out a win last night, so good for them. But as we get down this stretch here in the NBA regular season, it does feel like we're going to want to target teams that are playing for something more, expecting their predictive value in minutes to be higher than teams that are just dead and stinking, like the Rockets. So just something to keep in mind. We'll leave that screen up when we get back to the spreadsheet. What up, Boosted? Like a fish out of water. What up, Ethan? Hope you're all right. Doing all right. First game on the docket, Bulls and the 76ers. Project starting 5 for the Bulls: Patrick Beverley, Alex Caruso, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic taking on James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid. We got 225 total here, 8.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Philadelphia 76ers. Looking back at the Eastern Conference here, Sixers are a couple games behind the Bucks here for the overall 1 seed, 2.5 to be exact, but kind of right there trying to keep the Celtics off their butt there. So looking for that first round, maybe second round home court advantage. But hey, if you can go ahead and get the overall 1 seed, why not? So they're out here grinding, and the Chicago Bulls, going back to that same Eastern Conference, they are a couple wins out of the play-in spot, right? Or are they right there? So they need to keep winning. The Pacers are right there as well. They play today. So Bulls are starting to be in that spot where you got to keep winning. You got to keep winning. So expect them to play deep minutes. We saw a couple big games out of the big three. I think DeRozan the other night was moving. I looked down, he had like 40 plus real points. 49 against Minnesota. So minutes here have been a thing, right? 41, 52, extra innings, 40, 39. So big minutes for these Bulls as the Bulls try to get these wins. So for DFS, I think we can take advantage of that. DeRozan, LaVine, Vucevic. I do think on DraftKings there's a scenario where they can coexist at these price points on a 6-game slate. But I wouldn't fault you if you just went 2 or 3, that old rule set. And then on the Sixer side, for DFS, Harden and Embiid, of course, they write themselves here. And then Embiid, if you believe in the MVP race, maybe he has a couple showcase games at home down the stretch. But nonetheless, I do think I'm going to be on this game for DFS. The 8.5 point spread, maybe a little spooky, leaves the door open for a couple of ranges of outcomes. But I do like the upside from both teams in this game. For the DFS streets, what are we thinking? Usually when I see Sixers, the first thing I'll do is look at James Harden assists. They got him at 10.5, so that's already pretty doggone juicy. I don't feel like we're going to get a great deal, but we might as well go check the market value for assist. DeRozan over half a 3. What's he average? Like 2 or 3 a game? Let's see. DeRozan averaging 1.8. Yeah, that's a little risky. But hey, a game script if that spread is 8 down the stretch, wouldn't fault it. Looking at the market for Harden. Control F. No reason to be on that, especially. And then what about let's just go look at the Bulls board. Patrick Beverley plays like a sneaky amount of minutes, right? But 19.5 fantasy points, yikes. What do we have them at? We have them at 20, so that's pretty accurate. Not a lot of inefficiencies in this one, but it makes sense. Full strength teams going at it. Zach LaVine 2.5 threes. Who's chucking threes for the Bulls like this? LaVine is the main guy, 7.3. Where are the Sixers in terms of 3 points? 3-pointers allowed. 3-pointer made. 76ers got to be actually the top 10, and that's interesting for a team that is one of the slowest teams in pace. Opposing teams 3-point frequency. Sixers league average. So like maybe there's something there on LaVine, especially if the game script gets behind. So let's go look at 3-pointers. Here, what up, Nate? What up, Chris? Dude, I feel out of my element. I just gotta get some reps in here, right? It's just a different setup, you know? It's almost like I changed jobs, where I'm like reporting to work in a different environment. No, there's juice on the under, so not really a reason to be here. So I guess fantasy points would be the point of attack for me if I had to get there. Bulls on the season typically good against points in the paint, but I'm not gonna dare Embiid's unders at home today, you know. So maybe we would just attack some fantasy points, but I feel like everyone's probably efficiently priced. We'll look at Harden and Embiid fantasy. Embiid is what, 50? He's at 56. Good lord. Yeah, there's no wiggle room here. Like, this is really efficiently priced, so not gonna be able to make a wedge. Love coming in, not understand nothing, just here for the vibes. I appreciate that. For those that don't know, Johnny's one of my Fortnite buddies. Truck driver out of Cali. Appreciate you being here. Hit that thumbs up while you're here. Also, do you think I should set up the green screen, or should I just put like random stuff behind it? I have a bunch of TVs, and I was like, I don't know where to put these TVs. So I put one TV there, and I put my belt over it. It's like, that looks like a cool grungy background. But the wall color kind of has like a Mexican Adobe Hut vibe to it, don't it? So I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't go good for the contractors. Best ball lineup is probably done. Şengün, Middleton, Harden have all been out a game for me. Dang. Bringing at him. Dude, they've been killing it. I saw Josh smack UFC the other night, man. I love when people that truly grind, put in the work, the hours, get those hits, man. I'm just proud of them. All right, let's move on to the next game. Pacers at the Hornets. Project starting 5 for the Pacers. Andrew Nembhard, Buddy Hield, Aaron Naismith, Jordan Nwora, Miles Turner taking on Terry Rozier, Kelly Oubre, Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, Nick Richards. We got 234 total. The visiting Pacers favored by 2. So when we think about who's got something to play for, looking at the Eastern Conference, Pacers have to string together wins here to have a shot down the stretch at seeing some postseason basketball, whereas the Hornets are dead and stinking, which is kind of unfortunate because from a DFS standpoint, just in a vacuum, certainly have a ton of interest in the ceiling for this matchup in Rozier, Oubre, guys like that. But I'm not going to let that deter me from playing them, but it just feels like sooner or later, rather, some of these teams that are done are going to start rotating in backups of the backups and just kind of phoning it in. Looking at, let's see, Charlotte. See the game flow for Charlotte against Philly. So I guess it's not actually, let's just go look at Rozier minutes. What you doing with Trent? Nah, I'll get it set up. I'll get it set up. My old setup was basically I had a green screen from floor to ceiling. I actually had 2 green screens in my old house. One was in the kitchen, which is where I was first streaming. Not the kitchen, but like the dining room area, or supposed to be dining room. I don't eat at dining. Does anybody eat dinner in a dining room these days? Like those rooms. I mean, I guess if you have a family or whatever. But I can't remember the last time I like as an individual or even with a girlfriend, right? Where we just cooked dinner and then ate in the dining room. No, we're always on the couch watching TV. So I just converted that initially into the stream setup. And then I had a spot in the master bedroom. I was like, you know what? This is further from the train. I'm going to put it up here. But I left both setups up. So I could always move back and forth. And sometimes people wouldn't know. So I'll get it. So now I got a bunch of green screens, a bunch of wires to figure out, a bunch of lighting to figure out. But baseball's still 10 days away, so we'll be all right. Special occasions where you got family over or whatever. It's like you at least I didn't use that. Even when I had special occasions, it was like barbecues outside. So I don't know. What up, Beast? Hope you're doing all right. So minutes for Rozier. I guess in competitive basketball games, you could say his minutes are still 34 plus. The Sixers game got away from him. So I'm just gonna kind of like play it as if it, there was no nuances to be pessimistic about these minutes. And eventually when they do start pulling the plug a little bit early, then it is what it is. But this matchup is just too good, right? Pacers come in, bring in one of the league's faster paces, one of the more porous defenses, and they are limping into this game without their arguably their best player, Tyrese Halliburton. So we can go after what we've seen the Pacers kind of throw out the last couple games, which we'll do that. Let me see. Indiana. So we'll go game flow for that one. We'll go game flow for that one. And we'll go game flow for that one. Family of 5. Yeah, I can see if you had a family, kids and stuff. But I feel like the average person, girlfriend. But yeah, if it was the kids were gone, see you and the missus chilling on the couch. Minute rotation for the Pacers as of late. Naismith has been offering deeper minutes. In this game, the final few minutes were kind of a blowout, so they just kind of threw in the towel. But Nembhard, 37 minutes in that one. Nembhard, 28 minutes. Let's see. All right. So I went from 28 to 32. So these minutes are kind of all over the place. Nembhard again. I think he's the guy I want to focus on. Buddy Hield as well. So the minute projections are kind of all over the place, but that's because looking at the last week or so, don't really have the strongest of leans on who's going to pop. If you give McConnell 30 plus minutes, he's going to look good. Same with Nembhard, same with Buddy Hield. I think Buddy Hield's obviously looking like a better play on DraftKings at 6,600 versus his FanDuel price point. And then Miles Turner, you guys mentioned Miles Turner. Yeah, great spot for him against the Hornets front court. We look at the team DVP chart in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. Hornets have been giving up or tied for the most fantasy points per game to opposing bigs, and it's been a roulette of centers on the season between Plumlee, Mark Williams, and now Nick Richards. So Miles Turner, who should experience a decent usage bump without Halliburton in a extremely lucrative matchup against the Hornets front court. I'm with you guys on this being a good spot. Let's go pull up the usage tool here for Indiana. Let's see if we can quantify. Actually, let's just do this. These usage tools in the last couple weeks of this season where we're trying to replicate. Let's go Miles Turner usage rate without Tyrese Halliburton this season. %24 usage. That's not too bad for a big. Averaging 19 points per game on 30 minutes per game. And in this nutty buddy matchup, what can we get? Turner prompts that 19.5 points right on the nose. 39.5 fantasy points. So that might be where I live because he is a block-centric guy, right? Averaging over 2 blocks per game. I got him for 41. So it's still efficient in terms of not having a wide margin between mine and theirs. But if I was going to take something Miles Turner related, I'd probably just throw a blanket over it all and gear up the fantasy score just because he can rack up some blocks. So for DFS, I obviously do like Miles Turner. Would like to maybe get to more conviction on a minutes projection for him, but he has been between 17 and 30 the last 4 games, and you know this is a spot I like to see. I like to see 35, but I guess we put context to it. Philly game was a 20-point blowout with 5 fouls. Milwaukee only 25 minutes with 4 fouls, so maybe that's a game we'd like to see more. Fouled out against Houston in 27 minutes, fouled out against Philly in 6 minutes. So there's been some foul trouble. So would you guys say that if he didn't have foul trouble, we could maybe expect deeper, or maybe be able to plant bigger minutes here? Let's see. How did the fouls look? He picked up 1 foul in the first quarter against Milwaukee, 1 foul in the second. No fouls here. So Milwaukee. No, he picked up 2 fouls here. So he had 4 fouls here. And he checked back in. I'm thinking there's a chance that 28 minutes could be on the light end, but it does correlate with his ability or inability of getting into foul trouble. It's on the ban list. Yeah, I can see that. What's up, Amazement? Hope you're doing all right. And on the Hornets side, usually for props, I'll look at Rozier, Oubre, 3-pointers. Are those offered today on PrizePicks? 2.5 for Oubre. What about Rozier? 2.5. So we get both of them at 2.5. Maybe I wouldn't put them together, but that has been one of my favorite props on the season. Rozier. No value over or under. Oubre. Some value in the under. Remember, we look at that minus 118 where you're getting minus 130, minus 136 on the under and some other spots here. So if you're just playing odds value, the under on Oubre 2.5, but that's certainly not a gut strong click for me. And then PJ Washington, I got my 35 fantasy points. What are we thinking on PrizePicks? They have them at, they don't have 28.5. So I got a little bit of a gap between mine and theirs for PJ Washington. And we said PJ could benefit from playing a couple minutes at the center spot. So I do kind of like this. I think this might be a sleeping giant pick. Philly was a tough spot where they got smoked by 20, right? Or no, that was the Pacers. Let me see. 31 minutes against Philly. They got smoked by 40. And then Cleveland, back-to-back tough matchups. Cleveland's front court very tough. Their pace really slow. So I think this is a spot where I like PJ's overs because we're going to up the pace here and we're going to up the fantasy points allowed. And let me pull up the Pacers. So with Hayward's minutes, blowout 29-33. I think the last game was a blowout, and that messed with a lot of people. Other than that, it looks pretty normal. All right, I think I'm gonna nominate PJ Washington's over. I'm at 35, so I got almost a 7-point discrepancy. I'm gonna throw it as a tier 3 though, but PJ Washington over 28.5 FPOs. And that's all I got to say about that. That's probably all I got to say about that, actually. Unless you guys are on some Nick Richards, 26.5 fantasy. I'm at 33, so that's another gap. I probably wouldn't put him on the same card, but boy, you talk about minutes. Don't feel great about that one. I like the PJ one better. But he healed over 28.5 fantasy. Healed is always going to be extremely hit or miss. But the usage for him in this spot should be all he can handle. 28 there. I have him at 32. So I got about between 4 and 5 fantasy point discrepancy, which is enough to look at. Usually with Buddy Hield, I play that if he scores 30, that means he did what? Well, it probably means he scored a bunch, right? So what's his point prop at? 16.5. How often does he score 30 fantasy points, PrizePicks scoring, without having like 18 real points? You know what I mean? I mean, I guess I'm sleeping on his peripherals a little bit. A lot of it, looking at these rebounds. Let's see what the market says on that. We got moved to 16 already, so that's why. A little late there. Maybe we just laid on the gun there. All right. She got baddie with her baddie friends. Because it's fun to do hood rat things with your friends. Where we at on? We got one sub. One sub since we started. You took Nemhard real points. What is the line on Nemhard? 13.5 seems kind of low. Yeah, looks like there's odds value depending on where you compare it to. Compare it to Bleacher Report and BetMGM. Remember, we're thinking minus 118 in our 5-pick flex. Well, 132 gives us 15 cents of value here. So a little bit of odds value. DraftKings minus 125, Caesar 128. So that line might move to 14. So 13.5 could be an odds value pick. Not bad, not bad. Minnesota, the Timberwolves up against the Knicks. Project 35 for the T-Wolves. Mike Conley crossing over with Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Kyle. The Andersons got tickets to the game. How'd they get tickets? And Rudy Gobert up against Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson. 227.5 a total. 8.5 point spread in favor of the home team, New York Knicks. Going back to the standings here, Eastern Conference Knicks 3 games back from having the top 4 seed, home court advantage, whatever. Probably not going to chase down the Cavs here, but you do want to fend off the Nets and the Heat. So keep winning, but they're not in a high sense of urgency spot. However, we don't have to think about minutes when it comes to a Tom Thibodeau team. And on the Western Conference, the T-Wolves are scrapping. Every win matters in their spot. So they need to win and expect big minutes out of the guys that they need to be on the court, like Anthony Edwards, Kyle Anderson, Rudy Gobert, stuff like that. So that's the meaning behind this game. Now, with all that said, it is an 8.5 point spread behind the home team, Knicks here. So maybe it gets a little bit lopsided. A couple of knickknacks on the injury report we should probably get to the bottom of. So let's pull up Minnesota. Ant-Man questionable. According to Shams, Edwards has exited his walking boot. Will be evaluated on a day-to-day basis after Friday. If he can't go, that's massive. Austin Rivers questionable. That is massive. Rudy Gobert questionable. He's been questionable a bit. Left ankle sprain. He's consistently this questionable. He hasn't missed a game nearly a month. Cool. And then Nas Reed, left calf soreness. So I guess Ant-Man's really the pendulum swinger here, right? 317. So if he's not in his walking boot in a I won't say must win, but must win game scenario, we'll see. But I guess it's worth it to be pessimistic for now. Luckily, it's not like a normal Minnesota start time. It is on the East Coast, so 30 minutes after a normal slate lock. So we'll see. Right now, I have him for 0 minutes. If that happens, then Colin Anderson's been a guy that has picked up a lot of slack for fantasy points in the last couple games. 28, 50, 38, 56. Has even tossed a pair of triple doubles in the mix here. So expect this to be a much slower paced game than maybe some of these alternative ones, but at 6,900, nice if it can get you that 40 plus fantasy point game on a 6-game slate. Might be worth having in the blender, but certainly wouldn't feel super warm and fuzzy any which way. And then with the Knicks, I typically love to attack them with a 3-point shooter for the prop streets. But man, who's out here shooting threes for these T-Wolves without Anthony Edwards? We have Mike Conley averaging over 5 threes per game, and that's it. Everyone else is like 3 or less. So this is probably some murky waters that I don't feel great about. And then if you don't have guys that can shoot threes with a decent efficiency, maybe we can up the usage. What about McDaniels? Does McDaniels pick up some threes here? 6, 9. That's probably not even going to be offered anyway. Do we have any Minnesota? We do. Colin Anderson is on half a 3. 13.5 points for... none of this feels warm and fuzzy to click without definitive Ant news, but I think we'll be alright. Princeton Alexander Walker make or break some lineups. Think so? I saw NAW's projected ownership. It was pretty wild. But with the Knicks being so good with their interior defense, if we look at the team metrics chart and go to points in the paint allowed, Knicks have allowed the fewest points in the paint in all of basketball. Now, it does correlate with one of the slowest paces in basketball. 4th slowest pace, so there is, maybe some adjustment for that. But generally speaking, though, we're seeing opposing teams look to score more against the Knicks from behind the arc of 42%, 42% 3-point frequency, which is top 5. So, yeah, I can see the spread getting to, double. Not I'm gonna say the spread, but I can see why the spread is at 8.5. Just kind of comparing team strengths and weaknesses, and the T-Wolves don't really have that long-range shooter that we could feel great about, or at least we don't even have the prop offered on the 2 guys I would probably key in on. So with that said, if we get that definitive Edwards news, we can uptick usage, ripple affected through the T-Wolves, so I wouldn't mind grabbing some fantasy point overs. But for DFS, yeah, 3,500 on NAW. It's going to be an incredible opportunity. Wouldn't mind a little bit of Mike Conley, but not running to it just because I don't know what his true ceiling is in a spot like this. Colin Anderson obviously has triple-double potential. Yeah, lots to like here. And then on the Knicks side, pretty well healthy. Did I just completely not type a Knicks injury report, or are they really that healthy? Let me see. Dude, this monster is called, I don't know what it's called, Papillon juice. Kind of tasty. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything on the Knicks. No, I'm not. They just have a clean sheet. It's rare to see a clean sheet injury report this late into the season. So with that said, if they're fully healthy, I mean, for DFS, I'll take shots at Jalen Brunson. Know I can get 40 plus fantasy point potential. Maybe we get an opportunity on the fantasy score or assist props. For Brunson, we are looking at 5 assists. Ooh, that feels low, don't it? See what the odds of the market is saying. It might move down, so if you think it feels low, you might get a better line. 5.5 minus 155 on the under. So the market's like basically saying that the true number is 5, but man, there's extremes. So we get straight up at 5, which is what we're seeing. Heavy juice on the over 4.5, heavy juice on the under 5.5. So maybe we push there and whatever. 37.5 fantasy points for PrizePicks scoring. I have them at 41. So 4.5-ish discrepancy. Not enough for me to go crazy with, but I don't mind it. Maybe if Anthony Edwards did play, I would feel a little bit better. And then Julius Randle. Anything we like on Randle here? Do we get a 3-point prop from him? No, we don't. Dude, there's a lot of Knicks props here. What's up, Miguel? Hope you're doing all right. 5 assists is tricky because that's about his average. Yeah. I like numbers like that where you can take a shot on a push and then maybe still the over. But I would feel better if Ant-Man was in. Let's go Bears real point prop. Considering this matchup, 14.5. Oof, 32.5 fantasy. I'm at 42. I have a big discrepancy between my fantasy points and theirs. So, reason why I'm a little bit interested in this is because I do think we talk about our shot on goal, goalie, point defense. You put Gobert against a pretty active shooter. Like if he crosses with Randle here and there in the paint, like he can get some blocks. Saw a 5-block game against Chicago. Hasn't played against the Knicks yet. And those +3s add up. Let me look at my individual props to see what's causing the biggest discrepancy. Rudy. So I'm at 15.7 points. Almost 15 rebounds. Is it the rebounds that's doing it for me? What's their rebound prop? I have a 4-point. I might have broke something. 4 rebound difference. So get 2 turnovers. Yeah, there might be too much juice. Juice is on the under. I have to see what I did wrong, or if maybe it's because Nas Reed. Maybe I gave Nas Reed 21 minutes. I don't know, man. I gotta fix that then. Sometimes just anomalic outputs happen when I adjust. Like, I guess, what's Anthony Edwards' rebound percentage? I have to reformulate. He has a 14.2% defensive rebound rate. So if I put 0 minutes on that and replace it with like any W who loses 5%, I can see why that's happening then. All right, we'll see. This Jabari Smith turned back into a good basketball player. Şengün sits. Oof. Houston Rockets are just good luck, right? Good luck. All right, let's move on. Golden State Warriors at the Houston Rockets. Project starting 5 for the Warriors: Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Dante DiVincenzo, Draymond Green, Kevin Looney. Up against Kevin Porter, Jalen Green, Kenyon Martin, Jabari Smith, Alperen Şengün. 235.5 total, 11-point spread in favor of the road team, Golden State Warriors. Is this the litmus test right here? If they don't win this one. What a part. I know it's a prop show. No, this is an everything show. You could ask DFS questions. Yeah, if the Warriors can't pull this one off, man. Oof. This Warriors on the road narrative is getting thick lately. So Jalen Green, Alperen Şengün both have some tags, and then we'll get to the bottom of that. Let's go to Houston. Jason Shea doubtful. Şengün illness listed as questionable, and then Jalen Green also questionable with a left thigh contusion. So if Şengün and Tate can't go, you guys have asked about Jabari Smith, who should benefit with added usage and certainly should feel pretty stable in terms of a minutes projection. 6,600 on both FanDuel and DraftKings, getting about a point per minute return on that. So if you lost Şengün and replaced them with, you know, anything from a Garuba, Kaminsky, I don't know really what the Rockets might do here. Sure, I think it makes sense to get to him as a stocking stuffer. I don't think you're off limits to get to him anyway. But yeah, if Şengün can't go, it would feel a little bit better. And then if Jalen Green can't go, I think he is one of their better catalysts in terms of scoring to keep this game competitive. So you'd be leaning on a lot of KPJ, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith. So yeah, I don't mind getting those guys. The Warriors, man, the Warriors. We're looking back at that Western Conference. Warriors are essentially one game above the Thunder and the T-Wolves. T-Wolves, if they don't have Anthony Edwards, you know, beating the Knicks where they're at tonight, it's going to be kind of rough. But the Warriors are in danger of, you know, having to scrap through a play-in scenario. You know what I mean? So you can't lose games that you're just supposed to dominate, and this is one of those games. So I don't mind looking at Steph Curry to have a vintage Steph Curry night, but I understand the volatility in getting to a healthy Warriors team, right? If you have Clay, if you have Steph, if you have Jordan Poole, they could all kind of vulture each other. But I kind of like the thought of Steph Curry just taking over and having to drop 30 real points and not playing games anymore. You know what I mean? So in 2 games against the Rockets this season, Steph Curry's averaging 67 fantasy points. So I'm going to get to Steph quite a bit tonight as one of the upside guys. So we look at the player projections for the entire slate. Let me refresh that and sort it. Steph Curry is second. Essentially, you know, a tenth or two of a fantasy point difference between Kyrie and Sabonis. So Curry has a real shot to be the dominator of this restrictor plate track, right? That makes no sense because restrictor plates is volatile. Anyway, what's up, Mamba? Hope you're doing all right. What up, Ayo? I appreciate that. Klay Thompson, most of my lineups. Yeah, I don't mind him either. But 7,100, I feel like I need that 40. Since you didn't like my question, favorite 2v1 for today for value. I had to take down a similar spot, hoping for your help again. Favorite 2v1? Oh, so like a stack, 2 versus 1? Ooh. What's up, Travis? There could be a 2v1 in this game if you like Steph. If we lose Şengün and or Jalen Green, yeah, KPJ and Jabari Smith make a lot of sense for the run back. So I wouldn't hate that. And if Jalen Green did play at that price point on DraftKings, there's room for upside. Same with Jabari Smith. So this could be one of those spots. Golden State's about to get baptized on the road again, dude. I'm telling you, if they lose this one, this road narrative might be legit. There's a couple of so like the Nuggets are like a 500 team on the road, right? And I'm not saying they're overrated, but at home, the altitude, they are dominators. Anybody else that has really crazy road splits? No, the Warriors it's pretty astonishing for the Warriors to have single-digit wins on the road. That's actually crazy. They have one more road win than the Spurs and the Rockets. I mean, that's wild. That's wild. He smashed Houston last time was out. Curry was out. Yeah, so if Curry obviously is in, I guess that Klay Thompson, I don't know, that 7K for Klay Thompson, he really has to go crazy. 7 fantasy points less on the road, 18 real points per game versus 24. I'll take Steph. Warriors props are tricky. Yeah, the Warriors, when they're the fully operational Death Star, it could get crazy and go with the hot hand. But I think in this spot, I'm thinking Steph is my top of the podium. 11 game road losing streak. I mean, that's just crazy. Let's see. What are the teams though? Can we forgive them? Warriors scores last 30 games. Yeah, Rockets might be at that point where they kind of solidified their suckage. I don't know. Rockets have 18 wins. So basically only the Pistons and the Spurs, if you're competing for the Wembanyama sweepstakes. So they're almost at the point where they can just tell the players to have what, do whatever. Probably not going to jump the Pistons, probably. So it's just like, don't win more than the Spurs. And players ain't out there to lose, right? So maybe there's going to be less shenanigans from the front office, but we'll see. Losing to the Grizzlies, whatever. Losing to the Hawks, whatever. Losing to the Clippers, whatever. Grizzlies again. The Thunder. Lakers. Yo, that game with the Lakers, man. You know what? Where's Raj at? Raj was all over me. Don't want to see this Lakers team right now. I was like, Raj. I literally told him, I was like, they beat the Warriors on the road. He's like, that's not a thing. And now look at the Lakers. So, Draymond probably could be good if Looney's out. He'll play center a ton. So what are we thinking? PRA? I think PRA for Draymond's the one. I guess he could get some steals. 30.5 fantasy points with 23.5 PRA. Let's see. Draymond. Not really any movement there. And then for fantasy, I have Draymond at 38.5, which is 8.5 point discrepancy. So I guess I would lean that one. Remember, the Rockets have been the team that allow the most steals and blocks per game. So a guy like Draymond, who can get you them steals, averages a steal per game, almost a block per game. Makes sense to be there on that. I don't mind it. Let's see how serious the Looney tag is. Is Curry's home road splits that drastic? He actually averages more on the road, so more fuel for liking Curry today. Okay, so I just want to put it out there. I'm not massive on home road stuff. I get the energy's different. I do look at this Warriors, like who they've lost to on the road here. It's not like a bunch of scrubs, right? So I don't necessarily think that more players are just likely to, like, Jokic averages 10 less fantasy points on the road than at home. Like, I get it. There's a boost, but I don't want to overstate. Like, I don't want people to watch and think, oh, home road splits are that important. To me, they're not. But there's something there. You know what I mean? But a lot of these Warriors losses are actually against, like, competent teams. So I don't want to, like, Nuggets at home is the best team in basketball. I don't want to overstate it. But with a guy like Klay Thompson, spot up shooter, feeds off the crowd, I could see him using that energy. Same with Draymond. And you go into the grindhouse and the feud that they got going on. I get it. But for this scenario, even if you do subscribe to the home road narrative, Steph Curry having to pick up some slack because it is a road game also correlates with or aligns with what he's done all year. That's why he averages more on the road. I got tossed in the grindhouse twice without Ja. Hey man, Grizzlies the Grizzlies without Ja Morant, they've been stable. Last year the Grizzlies without Ja Morant, were they like 21 and something? Like they were one of the best teams in basketball without Ja Morant. And I'm not even saying that like facetiously. Like I'm serious. Like statistically, Grizzlies record without Ja Morant. Let's go last 2 seasons. 29 and 13. So they're 16 games above 500 the last 2 seasons without Ja Morant. So I get what you're saying. Ja Morant is a good player. I do. But it's not like that was an anomaly that they were able to beat the Warriors, because they were really good last season without him. Let's see, what were they last season specifically? 20 and 5 last season without Ja Morant. It was crazy. And I think they had like a historic defensive rating without Ja Morant last season. And I think their net rating was nuts last season without Ja too, right? Look at it, they beat the Kings by like 27, hold the Raptors to 91. They dropped 152 over OKC. I remember that game where they won by like 50 plus. Like they were pretty competent. It's a bold, maybe ambitious statement to say that they're better without Ja Morant, but you could statistically see that they're still very, very competent without Ja Morant, you know? What's up, why not? What's up, Jozo? See a lot of people talking about DeMar fantasy, so I was going to pair that with something. I got PJ Washington fantasy right now as one of the ones I'm on the most. And then, yeah, DeRozan makes sense for a Bulls team that needs to win and expect him to do a lot of the minutes, the scoring. So I don't mind that. I don't think their price on fantasy point was much different than mine, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Because Tyus is a true point guard. Yeah, it's just different archetypes. The one thing that I don't know, what's their defensive rating this season? Let's see, Grizzlies defensive rating. Let's go last season without Ja Morant, and then this season. They had 104 defensive rating last year without Ja Morant. But that's crazy. And then what is it this season? I feel like it's not going to be as good because Steven Adams has been down. Yeah, they lose 7-8 points. They score more points without him? Really? I guess they could be more efficient. Offensive rating this season without Ja, 113. And then with Ja is 115. So, not really, but it's a 2-point difference. I'm on the tip that Golden State gets toasted tonight and we'll play the slate according to that. I'm with that, but I think even if you think Golden State gets toasted, would Steph Curry still not make sense? I don't know, man. It's the Rockets. It's the Rockets, bro. What's Curry's ownership? Curry's is, I gotta adjust numbers here. Curry's at what, 14% on a 6-game slate? Yeah, I'll take that. Dang, chat. We miss a week and we lose half of our viewers. It's okay. I'm joking. All right, let's move on to the Mavericks and Grizzlies here. Project starting 5 for the Mavericks: Kyrie Irving, Josh Green, Reggie Bullock, Maxi Kleber, Dwight Powell taking on Tyus Jones, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, Jaren Jackson Jr., Xavier Tillman. We got 227.5 total. 5-point spread in favor of the home team, Memphis Grizzlies. Tim Hardaway and Kyrie questionable. Luka out, and then Jaren Jackson Jr. questionable, when we know Adams and John Morant are going to continue to be out. So Kyrie Irving is a massive piece of news here. And then looking at the Western Conference, Mavericks are pretty much, one of those teams that are fighting to stay in the true playoff spot, right? And 1 or 2 losses can go a long way from going backwards to staying up there, in that 6-5 spot area. So it's kind of one of those tricky spots where if Kyrie can go, do you throw him out there, or do you just kind of take a schedule loss based on the matchup and what we've just talked about in the Grizzlies here? So looking at the injury report, here we go. Let's see what we got on Kyrie. Yeah, the Xavier Tillman first half over points. You think so? Still a loyal fan. Dude, I thought the Rockets had a shot. I still maintain to this day, and I'm not even a Rockets fan like that, but I still maintain that if Chris Paul didn't get hurt, they beat the Warriors and probably would win the championship that year. And I don't want to hear that, but the Warriors didn't have Andre Iguodala. Shut up. Just shut up. That was supposed to be Chris Paul's ring, man. Sore right foot questionable for Kyrie. Kyrie made his return to the lineup against the Lakers on Friday. It was Jalen hard to roll off the bench. All right, cool. So if Kyrie can go, he's one of the guys that got projected to be one of the top dogs on the slate. But I am more likely to get to more Steph Curry than Kyrie, even though like statistically the usage and the vultureness is lower for Kyrie. But like we just got done talking about, Kyrie has to deal with a competent defense and a competent team in the grindhouse. So I do think his bust percentage is a little bit higher. So I just have that gut feeling to play more Curry than Kyrie. I'm not a rapper. But that's just me. But statistically, I actually have Kyrie leading the slate in fantasy points from this far out. I mean, he's the guy that can be pretty crafty with it and draw some fouls when he has to. So I'm going to get to him, but I do think I'm getting to more Curry than Kyrie, right? Everyone in Houston still says that. Let him have it, bro. It's true though. It's facts. Sengun trying to play team ball. Everyone else is playing ISO ball. Dude, Sengun, I'm gonna get you out of there. Sengun's so good. They don't deserve him. But unfortunately, that's the business model. So I don't know that. Let's say when we see these teams tank, it pays off, unfortunately. I wish the sports model was different all across the different leagues, but that's what it is. So if you are able to parlay that into a couple good draft picks, like the Thunder have done, essentially, think about how the Thunder are going to look in like 3 years. The Houston Rockets can kind of build around Sengun and maybe KPJ or Jalen Green. I don't even know who I'd prefer in that split, but if you're a Houston Rockets fan, don't be too discouraged because there's still upside. Want to know how DraftKings knew all this info when making pricing yesterday? Jumped to KPJ to 8K. Think so? No. Yeah, 38 minutes plus for KPJ, 4 games straight. I think if you just looked at his last 4 games, and I think that's what the pricing is mostly. It's just an algorithm going off of ownership and minutes and scoring. At least that's what I would like to think, because some days the pricing is just so busted. If you're saying this guy averages 39.5 minutes and averages over 40 fantasy points in a 4-game stretch, I think that's enough to put him at 8K. I don't think there's like a tinfoil conspiracy on them knowing something. But yeah. By the Mavs props last day always get posted. I mean, Kyrie not playing would be massive. Let me see. Do we have more underdog news? Am I crazy for liking Nakbaji? Kids points per from the Jazz, 13.5. No Laurie Clarkson. I can see that. Aguilar. Miguel. Green has never had a real coach or point guard. Let's see. Jalen Johnson out a week. Kyle Kuzma out for Tuesday. That's it. So if Kyrie doesn't go, I was just going to boost Jaden Hardy again, and we're going to like him. And this is going to be similar to a matchup we've seen recently. If Kyrie plays, Kyrie's like the only guy I'm really that enamored with getting to. And then on the Grizzlies side, if Jaren Jackson can't go, what's the status on that? Left calf soreness. Hasn't missed a game in a month and a half, but there's a chance he isn't able to suit up Monday. If that's the case, Anthony Aldama will slide into the starting lineup. All right, cool. Now, if you don't have Jaren Jackson on top of no Steven Adams, you would think that there's a lane for someone in his front court to do better, but I don't want to believe and trust in any of these guys. So just expect Kyrie to drive to the rack a little bit more. And then somebody mentioned, was it Tillman? Did somebody mention Tillman's first half fantasy or first half scoring? Let's see. Overall, we have 11 points. We have 26.5 fantasy. I have him at 32, so it's already enough to be interested considering the discrepancy in projection. But if you lose Jaren Jackson Jr., maybe more of a reason to be there. Let's see. Tillman, first half, 6.5 points. Oh, okay, it's one of those. It's one of those. Okay. I can see that. Feature big man. When Harden comes back next year and we get Wemby. When James Harden comes back, we get Wembanyama, and Embiid holds out and he's like, I will sign with Houston for the vet min. And then maybe it's fun. The Houston's can be a good market for sports. I feel for them. Like, I'm not that far from Houston, and there's some really passionate fans. The baseball team sucks, it's a shame. But having the football and the basketball programs go through what it is, but screw their baseball team. So I would like to see them get a good basketball team. Remember when I was a youngster passing through Houston every now and then, like I remember Hakeem Olajuwon hype. It almost made me a young Rockets fan from the get-go. You can go for 100 tonight. Sabonis is coming to the game with a bib on because he's about to eat barbecue chicken. They should. NBA players coming to games in like the weird outfits, reflector suits, and hard hats. Somebody should come to the game and just like a bib with a fork. just make that statement. No. Let's just say I truly hope that Jose Altuve doesn't miss too much time for you guys from that, thumb injury in the world. I truly hope, because it honestly couldn't happen to a better guy. So I need, I hope he does well. I hope he recovers fast. Just a nice guy, no moral issues at all. I'm rooting for him. Hey man, I gotta get wins where I can get them. Oh my gosh. If you guys knew Jaren Jackson Jr. was out right now, let's see. Santi Aldama, 3,700 for Aldama, getting about a point per win projection there. I guess it makes like the rest of this team is essentially 5K outside of Tyus Jones and Desmond Bane. Not getting a bad return on Desmond Bane's price point, but it's kind of on the edge of comfort. Tyus Jones on FanDuel, maybe a little bit more interesting. Just kind of unremarkable. Someone should come to the game. But when didn't somebody's done that? I feel like Russell Westbrook. Dude, if we Russell Westbrook outfit. I feel like somebody's come to the game in a construction outfit before. I want to say it was Westbrook. It was Westbrook. Bro. What is this? Look at this. Okay, Westbrook is out here. You know how after like a team wins, I think Jeremy Pena, didn't he work the drive-through window at like some chicken shack? Westbrook just literally does. He controls traffic flow in construction zones. Okay. Westbrook's the homie though. Altuve out at least 2 months, man. Hey, I'll say, you know, with Altuve, probably shouldn't rush back. You know, that looked pretty serious. They honestly, I would say no less than 12 months is probably what you should. You know, don't take chances. And anything Fox 27.5 overview points and Sabonis 21.5 over under. Yeah, I like targeting those two quite a bit. Kyle Kuzma has had some rough ones. Let's talk about that. Before we do that, we'll do a plug. We haven't done any plugs. It's been a week. I'm rusty. I appreciate you guys getting through the rust, the new setup, being here. It's one of our lowest viewed streams of the year, probably the lowest. So you guys are the real ones. Maybe just people are burnt out, or maybe they thought I quit or died. I don't know. Hey, if you want to hang out with me a little bit more in the Run DFS, I'll be back in the Discords today as well. Appreciate everyone's patience with me last week, moving, but we're all set up. So VIP memberships up and available at rundfs.com. Every membership comes with a Fantasy Cruncher voucher, the year pass up there, the All-Star Break pass. I did in my pinned tweet, and this is probably going to come down in the next couple days because this wasn't like a polished offer, but enough people were asking for this. You know, they're like, hey, I got subs elsewhere. You know me. I don't need all the Fantasy Cruncher vouchers. I don't need the NBA. So bare bones min only baseball stuff. If you guys want that for the full season, go to my pinned tweet on Twitter, or I'll post the link in the chat. It's $200, gets you the entire season. Just understand there's no bells and whistles. There's no access to all the different sports. It's just baseball spreadsheet and the Discord channels for baseball. But I think, you know, whatever. So that's not going to be listed on the website itself. But if you guys want that, hit me up. And then that's it. Sign up for any site using code Gundecker. Boom. Main event tonight, Kings and the Jazz. Project starting 5 for the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis taking on Taylor Horton-Tucker. Akbaji Simone, is that how you say it? Simone? I've been calling him Simon. Simone Fontecchio from Italy. Kelly Olynyk, Walker Castle Ranger, 238.5 fantasy points, 6.5 points spread in favor of the Sacramento Kings. So going back to the Western Conference, the Kings are the 2 seed. You know, just kind of trying to keep the Grizzlies away. Pretty much chilling. The Utah Jazz, technically in it to win it in terms of playing positioning, right? 1 game behind the Lakers, essentially 1 game behind the Lakers, T-Wolves, Thunder. So wins matter for them. And should expect them to come out and try to win this game. 6.5 point spread. So I do like looking at this game for DFS quite a bit, and then we might be able to find some player props here. So De'Aaron Fox, somebody just asked about De'Aaron Fox props, Sabonis props. Now I don't know that I would want to attack both of their real point props and go from there, because Sabonis is such a triple double threat. I might be more intrigued with like his PRA or his fantasy, if that's an option. Joe, thank you for the follow. Hey, if you guys are out there lurking, you didn't hit that sub button, man. Trying to get to 85.50 today. We're at 85.47. So 3 more of you guys. If you have that red sub button below, click it, man. Join the crew. And then join us daily for these live streams breaking down NBA. And then coming soon to a YouTube channel near you, MLB full slate breakdowns. We're certainly going to do some MLB content here. That might be in the form of earlier content. Like we might have to do because I prefer to do everything live anyway. So I might have to do like a live baseball stream in the afternoon, like noon 1, and then the NBA 1, and then we're home free. And then we might have appearances elsewhere for baseball as well. So it's going to get pretty busy in the month of April, I guess. The overlap is pretty crazy. So, yeah, hit that sub button. So let's look at Fox and Sabonis props. For DFS, I think 8,200 on Fox, it looks like a really, really good price point. 10.4 on Sabonis. Sabonis has a real chance to lead the entire slate in fantasy points. I got him third as the big dog, slightly above Joel Embiid, right behind Curry and Kyrie. Mentioned Kyrie has a couple of moving variables around him, a good defense and a Q tag. I'm not that pessimistic on Steph Curry, but he does have guys that could vulture his upside, like Klay Thompson gets hot, Jordan Poole gets hot. So Sabonis looks like a rock steady option up here. And then De'Aaron Fox, he's inside the top 20 in fantasy points, 41.6 fantasy points. Makes a lot of sense. I got him at 43.5 over on FanDuel, which is also PrizePicks scoring, which is 43.8. Is that normal? I feel like it's always a hook. What is that about? Fantasy score 8, so it's always 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, right? Why did that say 0.8? Did y'all see that? For De'Aaron Fox, it says 43.8. Bro, what? Imagine. And what is my projection? I'm at 43.5 too. What? Huh? What'd you say? That's the only one that I guess that's not on purpose, right? That's funny though. 43.8 fantasy points for De'Aaron Fox, which is under my projection by 0.3. They do it every once in a while for some reason. Is it intentional? It doesn't seem like it. All right, let's go look at odds value on OddsShopper. Fox is real point prop. 26.5 steamed up wherever you can get it. What is it on PrizePicks? 26.5. So it does look like this might move. So if you're just in the interest of odds value, minus 125 on the over is the best line that OddsShopper has, but you can see it as much as minus 127. And like I said, anything above minus 118 means that in a 5-pick flex, you're getting kind of like implied value here. So this has had so much value that FanDuel and PointsBet have moved the line to 27.5. So this line on PrizePicks will probably follow the market and not be at 26.5 for long. So if you do want some price or you want some Fox overs, probably don't wait for his points, because it'll probably go up and cost you another point, right? And then Sabonis, what's his PRA or fantasy? He is at 41.5 PRA with a 49.5 fantasy point prop. So PRA for Sabonis. KPJ went up 1.5. Maybe there's markets racing for one of, if not both of, Green and Şengün to be out. Sabonis. BetMGM minus 130 on over 41.5. And this line is at 41. So that could move as well then, huh? 41.5. Juiced heavily on the over at BetMGM, decently on the over at DraftKings, Caesar, and then FanDuel's officially moved it to 42.5. So might see that go up as well. And then fantasy wise, I have him at 57 and they have him at 49. So I'm at an 8-point gap there. So I don't mind those two overs. Correlate well too. I just probably would go with like a Fox points or fantasy and a Sabonis PRA or fantasy. I hate sweating two guys to score 20 plus real points together, you know? And then on the Jazz side, so Jordan Clarkson down, Lauri Markkanen down, Sexton still down. So you expect Taylor Horton-Tucker to have to pick up a lot of the slack. Somebody mentioned Agbaji points felt kind of low considering what all was missing here, and the Kings do run such a fast-paced offense that you can see Agbaji continue to take double-digit shot attempts. And what was his point prop? 13.5. I feel like that is right on the nose of comfort. So I don't have a warm and fuzzy there, but I certainly understand it. What up, KJ? What up, Tyler? What up, Mac Man? Taking the Kings minus 6.1. That's value, bro. Agbaji. So for Agbaji, the market's just kind of, teeter-tottering. Seesaw is pretty balanced. So no reason to be there. Some spots there's more steam on the under. So I don't really have an opinion to be convicted on pairing that with Josh Hart over 10.5 rebounds assists. All right. Well, hope it hits. Do we like anything other than THT a lot from this Jazz situation? The Kings running such a fast pace. I mean, obviously, I love THT in that opportunity. But is there anybody else that we can lean on with any bit of confidence? As far as projection, I guess I'm getting almost a 10x, 9x from Fontecchio. And he's one of those guys that just kind of letting these youngsters get some 30 minutes against Miami. We saw 33 fantasy points. Yeah, I guess I would get to him quite a bit. And then Olynyk has a shot at 30 plus, sure. Kind of it. Chris Dunn every now and then is going to hit you a big game. But you probably need one of the other guards to fail. So maybe set a rule to not have Chris Dunn and THC in the same lineup at these prices. Something like that. Kelly O. What is their Kelly Olynyk prop? Kelly. Weird thought I had yesterday. Somebody, I don't know what, the name Joe. I was like, is there anybody in the NBA right now named Joe? And I was like that's active. Like there's a Joe Harris, right? I was like, we're losing out on Joe's. Matt Butler. Yo, Matt Butler always hitting me with some fire tweets after these streams, bro. I'll share this one with you guys. Really insightful stuff. So he says, and shout out to Matt, he's out there. Since the rules changed 2 years ago, the bottom 3 teams have all the same lottery odds for NBA draft, and there isn't much drop to even 4 or 5. The Pistons, Rockets, Spurs are basically locked in the bottom 3, so not as much risk. So basically, what we're saying is, when we think about the Rockets and wanting to tank, as long as they're in the bottom 3, they're fine. And they're in the bottom 3, and they're not really at risk of going up, right? They're not. They're securing the bottom 2 in the West. They're not ever going to get to the Blazers. And then the Pistons are pretty much there. So very unlikely that they jump the Hornets or anybody. So when projecting Rockets minutes out and we're thinking about, they want to tank, this is pretty good information that whether they have the worst record or the third worst record, they have the same odds of getting the number 1 pick in the draft lottery. So shout out to Matt for that reminder. And then that should help us feel better. It doesn't, but it should help us feel better about expecting no squirrely stuff from the Rockets down the stretch. Because like I said, the players don't play the tank. The coaches and the organization kind of set that up, right? Joe Ingles, Isaiah Joe doesn't count. Joe Harris, yes. Isaiah Joe doesn't count. Joe Ingles, yes. We're losing out on Joe. Like, give me a Joe Johnson. That's it, though. You can't just... Last names don't count. Because names like Corey Joseph. No. Joe Mama. Joe Mama balls, though. Oh, you guys. All right. What's tomorrow looking like? 340. Joe Embiid. Okay, buddy. You start naming kids Joe again. That's a good American name. 6-game slate tomorrow. Wednesday's a big one. Thursday's a 4-gamer. Pretty spaced out. Friday, big one. Alright, so hopefully we'll be back regular. And I'll day by day, piece by piece, step by step, growing pains. Try to get the setup look a little bit more appeasing. We got the Yankee Stadium back, you know what I mean? I gotta make like a curtain to slide the green screen. But we'll get it. We'll get it. You guys got anything else? We got time. Like I said, though, I do appreciate it. A couple of you guys hit me up on Discord. Some of you guys I never hear from. Discord, Twitter. On Thursday, Friday, it's like, yo, Gun, you ever going to stream again? I was like, I tweeted that we're moving. But it certainly, like, it's humbling. I appreciate you guys, like, looking forward or looking to hang out every day. It means a lot. So shout out to any of you guys that got concerned. I did not quit. Thoughts on Brunson? I like his price on DraftKings. I'm getting a solid projection. 7,500. Look for 40 plus. 40 plus. That dog will hunt on these 6-gamers. I do think there's some volatility in his success and perhaps this matchup. Like if Anthony Edwards doesn't go right now, I have him projected at 0 minutes because he was in a walking boot. This game could get a little bit more lopsided. And then if the Knicks are controlling the scoreboard, they control the pace. And when they control the pace, it's a slow pace game. But ultimately, I'll just have him in DFS. I don't really have a strong lean for fantasy, although the 5 assists was enough for me to expect it to be kind of pushable. So if I had to throw that into something, I wouldn't mind it. 8,540, so 2 away from 50. Who was that, by the way? Oh, I gotta fix that screen. That's right. Josh, thank you for the sub. I hope you're doing great. Levine assist over. That one's a little bit more hard to get behind. I do like the thought of overs for the big 3 individually on the Bulls just because of their sense of urgency to produce. But Levine's just averaging 4 assists per game. So with those guys, I'm looking for fantasy or scoring. Has Levine taken more of a facilitation role with Beverly in the lineup? 7, 5, 6, 5. What's his line? There was a couple games that went deep, right? 4 assists. I mean, it's essentially his season average in a game that they're trying to win. So I don't think it's crazy. Look at the market on that. How often does DeRozan have big games like the 80 points he had the other day? Could he do that against Philly? I wouldn't say it's very often, but I would say, all right, so the market, that 4 line on Levine assists is a response to the market smash in the over at 3.5. So we would say that line's a little bit more efficient. And then DeRozan in this spot. So we go back to the NBA standings. The Bulls got to win, right? 33 and 37. I don't necessarily think they win this game, but like they have to win this game. 2 games behind the Raptors and the Hawks here, so trying to get into that safer play-in spot, or trying to get into the play-in spot, stay in the play-in spot. They gotta win. So in order to do that, you gotta play your guys, your good guys, the minutes, and that's what we've seen out of DeRozan. 41, 52, 40, 39, 38 minutes. So as much as he can go, you need him to go. So I don't think it's common that he scores 80, but I think it's common that he scores 40 to 50 plus in these games that they really need to get down the stretch. So because of that, I like leaning on him. I don't hate leaning on Levine. Vucevic's a little bit more uncomfortable because of the matchup, right? Sixers really good center defense, points in the paint defense. So maybe that would make me tilt the balance of the seesaw a little bit more towards DeRozan and Levine. But yeah, can we look at Vucevic's historical numbers against Embiid? Vucevic, TKP by game log versus Joel Embiid. Let's go last 10 games. 55 in their last outing, 36 minutes. He had 23. He had 19 rebounds. Like, squeeze me. That was in October. What was that about? That's the same lineup. How did he have 19 rebounds, bro? That's wild. So if you normalize that down a little bit. All right. Well, usually lukewarm results lately. That's interesting. Oh my God, is that Dog Millionaire? What's up, random? Let's go with the Discord news channel for NBA. So that's not a me thing, random. I'm gonna try to get to the bottom of that today. Like I said, I've been moving in the last week. So I pay for bots that control posting stuff from the Twitter API. I'm gonna look at that today and tomorrow, because it's not only in the free Discord, it's happening in the premium Discord as well. And I want to get what I pay for. But I know Twitter has made some recent adjustments with their new ownership and the APIs and how that stuff spits out. But I'll get to the bottom of it, because I'm certainly somebody that looks at Discord more than Twitter, especially in crunch time. So I definitely know that I'm aware of it, and I'm trying to fix it. Can you show your notepad with the picks? I only have one, to be honest. It was kind of a slow day. I put PJ Washington 28.5 fantasy, and I was thinking Nick Richards, but I wouldn't want to play them together. I didn't really have a strong lean, and Kyrie's holding up the line here, and then with the Rockets and their news kind of holding up the line as well. So it's probably going to come down to, and then Jaren Jackson Jr., if he can't go, that's going to change a little bit too. So there's so much, a lot of moving pieces. Maybe Taylor Horton Tucker we can feel better about. I hate days like this when I do so much research and can't really feel great, but more of a EV better than a gut better, you know what I mean? So for Taylor Horton Tucker, 35.5 fantasy, or it's PRA 31.5. What do I got for? I'm at 36 fantasy. I feel like I would like that more, but board is dry, right? All right. So as long as it's not just me, right? You guys feel it too. Some days we love it, some days we don't. Drummond as a flyer, Vooch could get into foul trouble. I mean that's quite a flyer. 3K bare bones him in. I don't know. Is Vooch known for foul trouble? I know you don't draw fouls. Looking at Vooch's history against Embiid. 4 fouls, 5 fouls. It's not really been something that we should kind of expect, you know? It'd be a heck of a flyer. That's 100K to first if you have 150 lineups flyer on a 6-game slate. Probably not something I would do in 20 or less, you know? Hard over 35 fantasy points for THD. My gut would agree with that. My actual projections don't. In terms of being super confident, but yeah. I do like that though. Like I don't mind that at all. Considering the Kings pace and stuff. I think with THD, so do you guys think I'm too soft on his minute projection? Because I only have him at 30. 28, 27, 32, 30. But I'm with you guys. I totally agree that in this pace, in this matchup, Horton Tucker should shine without Jordan Clarkson and marketing. This guy says, yeah, I think Josh has been throwing up daily PrizePicks videos. I think, and they do it earlier, so getting to those lines earlier in the day than 3 hours before lock is probably better as well. You have it for 35 minutes. What am I doing differently then? Clarkson's last game was on the 5th, so that's not Maybe Markkanen's minutes. I just basically give him the Fontecchio. Maybe I'll meet in the middle. If I go to like 30 to 32 minutes, it'll certainly give me closer to 40. So I'm with you. I agree with it in terms of matchup usage talent. I'm with you. If I had to start grasping at straws, I'd probably take Horton Tucker over 35 fantasy points. Just because I just like the spot against the Kings always. All right, chat. Let's play it on Yahoo. The smaller contests are really good for the bankrolls, so MLB. I haven't, but I do have Yahoo projections factored in to the spreadsheet here. So if anybody does, their salary is somewhat different. The structure is a little bit different. The scoring is the same, I believe, as FanDuel. But the few times I've played on Yahoo, it always feels like go grab the guys that are $10, between $10 and $13 that are just egregiously priced. So like over there, the value today, Fontecchio is like $1 above min. That's the main one that sticks out. Bodgy still a lot of Chaz. NAW is $10. So these guys, and then you have the money for the big guys. That's how I've made lineups over there historically. But I am kind of like a sucker for not playing there a lot because I like the 100K to first stuff. But I might check out if they offer some decent baseball stuff. I don't mind it. Am I liking the new spot? It's all right. I got a lot of work to do to get this set up where I want it to be. I might even move the desks, right? There's a door right here. And I hate having my back to doors. So I have like a mirror that it's a prison thing, So we'll try and set that up. I might spin it around. Gotta make it work. We'll make it work. Markkanen's out, so I would bump the over with the upside. I agree with that sentiment. I just didn't know how we get Taylor Horton Tucker's minute projection higher than what it is. Yo, Chronic, are you back, bro? I haven't seen you in a minute. Chronic, I get you back on Fortnite, man. I was playing Fortnite the other day with Keg. He has a Cash Keg on. He does a lot of PrizePicks and prop content. You gotta get like a prop squad going in Fortnite. We only played one game and I won it. I clutched. It was a duo. Houston out with Green and Porter and Şengün. Does that Steph Breakers never finally win a road game? What? So you're saying if Houston has those guys out? Yeah. But we had a little bit of a discussion on the whole road thing for them. I think they're fine. I like Steph Curry a lot. If I had to bank on one guy to score 60 fantasy points tonight, it'd probably be Steph or Sabonis. But more so Steph. I like Steph a lot. Went around to the time difference, 4 p.m. locked too early. I thought you were back in Texas. Are you still in Cali? Oh no, I'm dumb. You're in Cali. Well, I'm stupid. I don't know why I was thinking you were back in Houston. My brain is broken. I'm old. All right, guys. Let me go get in the Discord. I'll start sweeping projections. If you guys want to hang out in the premium, go to rundfs.com. Get yourself behind the paywall. Click VIP portal. I appreciate you guys making part of my day. Be part of your day. Tell somebody out there you love them. I love you. Good luck. God bless. Throwing some money in.